everybody. Welcome to the Undocumented Truth Show, the show where we take real life stories, topics, diagnose them, cut them, chop them up, and the goal is to bring out all the lessons, and just learn from them. We're just here to make sure we all are learning from these topics. So with me here in the studio today, we have the gorgeous Mel, the gentle Ben,
yeah, the gentle Ben,
and Manny, aka Ezel1 of Mbatu.
Zobu.
And I am Lady D.
The one and only.
You know me. Yes.
The ever gorgeous.
So on today's topic, we want to talk about why you should or should not call the police on your spouse. Is it a good thing to call the police on your spouse or not? So today we have some people that are for and some people that are against calling the police on your spouse.
Let me jump in.
Okay.
Let me do a quick correction here.
Okay.
The question is, are you gonna stay with your spouse after they call the popo
Okay.
on you?
Okay.
Are you still going to
Stay. Okay.
with them? That is the question.
And of course, the main discussion is gonna be why you should call or not call the cops on your spouse.
Well,
Yes.
I don't really care why somebody decides to call the cops on their partner. I care whether the partner is still gonna be with them after the transaction.
Well,
So that is the after effect, right? The after what is
Because,
happening.
look.
So start with the why. What leads
why
to it?
first?
The reason why I decided to rephrase this topic is I know you guys are gonna try to dive in to justify why people should be calling the cops on this.
But that should be you.
That
have
is
to-
not my
You
concern.
have to understand.
If you
So I
decide,
need to educate, right?
okay, well,
Exactly.
Like figure out what are the circumstances you'd advise someone to call.
there is no circumstance I would advise anybody to call anybody.
But if
So,
somebody put
yeah.
on me, I'm a stranger to you completely.
Okay. So let's start with that.
Okay.
Well, the table is hot. Let's.
Of course, I'm gonna start that if my partner calls the police on me, I'm gonna stay, but it depends why they actually call the police on me. Did I just sit minding my business and they call the police on me?
They call the
Did
police
they
because they
lie?
denied them some coochie.
No.
That's the reason why.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not gonna sit here and say I'm gonna leave because again, that could be a valid reason to leave, but it depends.
Yes.
But I think let's start by each of us telling us why you think the police should be called or not called.
Yes. For me, I can start. If I'm in a relationship and the things that would lead me to call the cops on my partner are either things that make me feel unsafe.
Thank you. And if
Things
you're
that
unsafe, you
make-
shouldn't even be there.
You should be out.
That is
yes.
my take.
No, I thought even like according to what you said,
Mhm.
even if you're unsafe, you should
stay.
should
That's what
stay,
he said.
right?
Yes.
Or
That is
you
true.
still expect the
Yo,
person not to call the
Okay,
police.
Yes.
let me make a quick correction.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I am not advocating for you to stay or leave.
Okay.
No. I'm talking about whether you're gonna stay there after the police have been called for whatever reason.
Okay, so it means
Okay.
you're not supporting Melanie that if their lives are in danger, they should call the police.
Mhm.
Like you don't see
What
that
I'm
that's the
saying
need.
is, if your life is in danger,
Mm-hmm.
you shouldn't be there.
Okay.
Okay.
So going back to my point.
There's no point.
If
calling
I
the
feel,
police.
if I get to a relationship, if I'm in a relationship, such a related, woo!
Yes, we
If
know
I'm
what you
in
want
a
to say. Just continue
relationship
after the word.
and it gets to the point where I have to call the cops, it means I couldn't handle it at my level anymore.
Mm-hmm.
There's no more conversation, there's no more dialogue or agreement, which means I feel unsafe where I need an external party to intervene. So after that circumstance, where I come down to the argument, after that situation, I am out of that relationship.
Okay.
I'm not staying.
Okay.
Yes.
So
Right, so you're
you
not gonna-
mean you can call the police actually because your life was unsafe, but
Yes.
after that you're out.
I'm out. Yeah.
Is that the only
That's the
reason?
only. That's the only circumstance. Because the police, to me, is the extremity.
Mm-hmm.
That's that final what you call the last resort,
Mhm.
in my opinion. So if you couldn't handle it at your level, then you bring in an external party. And if that external party is not family, is not friends, it means it is that serious. So
Okay.
I need to get out.
Okay,
Yeah.
I agree with you. Your life is
Yes.
at stake, so you have to go because, of course, your life comes first, right? Mr. Ben, why would you, or what, in your case, would you call the police for any reason?
No. Because I know calling the police here, especially in America, is a dead warrant.
Oh, Lord.
Especially
It is tantamount to a dead one.
yes,
Mm.
especially
Completely agree
with
with you.
somebody like
Couldn't agree more.
yes, somebody
Somebody with a color
With a
and
color
this kind of
and
muscles that we have,
is
man.
like a dead one. So in under no circumstances I will call the police. I think dialogue is always the last resort, and there's no exception. I better just walk away quietly, go sleep somewhere, rather than calling the police.
Or
Okay.
go and never even come back. That's also an option.
So you talked about dialogue, right? People may call the police because they want somebody to intervene, and maybe they don't have family or
Call a
friends that are
counselor.
even trustworthy. Maybe your life is in danger,
Yeah,
right?
can walk
Or maybe somebody is just shouting and telling you they have not maybe shown a weapon at you, but you are afraid they could do that.
Then
And you
get out.
really just okay.
If I plan to live again with that partner, I would never call the police on her. I will not. Because
Okay.
calling the police on someone for me means that it's all over.
Yeah.
I mean, if somebody is listening, and especially in Africa, they might think that the police here just come and everything just changed. Sarah, like you don't have a chance.
In
After
most
you call the
cases,
police.
in most cases,
Stop stereotyping Africa. You guys are fond of that.
I mean, I want to give a scenario, or like I'm calling Africa because Africa is far away from
We live
here,
in America.
and because everybody in America should know that
We're
the
recording
police
this for people that live in America, not
the
people that live in
police
Africa.
is not there to make
The
things
statistics
worse.
show.
The police brings the peace that is needed. People call the
When
police
there
because
is
they
a,
want
when
to.
there is a protest or
Do you know
a
what I'm
riot,
saying? Do you know
that's
what I'm
when
saying
we need
this?
police.
Do you know what I'm saying this?
Okay.
Someone called the police on me in your place
Mhm.
for no good reason.
Okay.
And the behavior of the police towards me was strange.
Very hostile.
Mhm.
Yes. When they came, there was no question like what happened or whatever. They just walked
Because
to
you're a
me.
man of
Mhm.
color.
They just walked to me and
Yes.
took me out there. And I mean, I started sweating because that was my first time.
That could be a dead word.
Yeah.
Right there.
And they were well armed. Their hands were already on the trigger like this.
Mhm.
So it was horrible. So I would never. To be
And you know
honest.
how they
In your case,
Five, six.
I don't know what
And
transpired.
with women just around you.
Yeah.
as if-
They'll listen to the woman first.
Yeah.
And,
Unfortunately for me,
Mhm.
the girl herself that called the police on me because of this misunderstanding in the workplace, she, was started panicking and called on the police and told them to let it be.
Those kind of people should actually get
I'm
locked up.
telling you, this told her, don't let the police.
We're wasting resources.
Yeah. So it was that experience was, traumatizing to me. I can never call
Guys,
the police on someone.
so I left my palace and came down here today in my full regalia because this is a topic that touches me in the heart.
Okay.
And we are sitting here and having this conversation as black people. Number one, if you are not living under a rock somewhere and you've been listening to the news and you understand what is happening in this society that we live in today, I will say that the police, why it's an honorable force created to protect. In many instances in America, when it comes to people of
Color.
this color, melanin, they are very, very dangerous. So maybe white people can call the police, maybe Chinese can call the police and it's okay.
On who?
On each
On
other.
each other. Yes.
When it comes to black people and you call the police on another black man
They come to
in
act.
because of an argument, because of a disagreement in a relationship.
Mhm.
I'm trying to bring this in context. I'm not saying black people should never call the cops.
Yeah.
Because
Okay.
I know those of you that have some selective listening and hearing are going to run with, and say, I said we should never call the police. I'm saying that if you're in a relationship, if it is not a matter of life or death, And when I say life or death, it means after you call the police, you cannot be in that
In that,
relationship,
yes.
which is actually my point.
Yes.
Mhm.
I agree.
Right?
Okay.
So when the police come, number one, they are ready to test the
Yeah,
guns that they
action.
have. They've never tested it. They want to test
We
it
call
so
them
fast.
trigger happy, yeah?
They're trigger happy, for sure. So if you're calling the cops on your partner as a black person, you are literally,
Signing their death warrant.
yes, that's a death. That is potentially.
Again, you
Hold
said
on,
you
let me
should
finish.
call the police.
That is
I don't even
potentially
want.
a death sentence for them.
Yeah.
You just said, Manny, that if your life is in danger, and I will
Is there
call
one?
the
Is there
police
one, please?
if my life is not, if my life is in danger.
And if you
So
call
I
them,
will call
you
the
will
police.
not be in that relationship
And
And
after
of
that.
course, that would be okay by me.
So that is the
Yes,
So
point.
that is-
the point I was actually gonna be making is,
Yes.
I will call the police if I see any,
Lady D,
any.
the question is,
Mhm.
will you
Why?
stay with
What's
your
the system?
spouse after they call the cops on you? So the option of you say you call them if your life is in danger and you will not be with them after that defeats the whole question.
Because calling the
Because
cops is the extreme.
that is the situation where this conversation allows you
I
to call
mean,
the cops.
I mean,
So
I
we're
will
talking
call
about
the
those situations
cops.
where
Okay.
this conversation does not allow you, where we're talking about a situation where you still want to be with that partner after the call. Those are the
Well,
situations
love
we're
has,
dealing
love is,
That's
it's
toxic
very, I'll say it's unpredictable what happens. Even while you love somebody and they do something to you, you can still keep loving that
That's
person. And I'm
toxic
saying,
love.
if somebody changes, something like we said, people do things and they change because they
Right.
realize the effects of whatever they did, right? So if somebody wanted to harm me for whatever reason, and I called the police and they apologized, promised never to change it, never to do that again, and of course they don't repeat themselves, I'm gonna stay
Lady D, why have people died in homes in their matrimonial
because
homes?
of repeated.
Thank you. So how did it start? It started with a raised voice.
Mhm.
Went to the talking down on you,
Mhm.
hitting on your self-esteem,
Mhm.
and then it became physical. So there is always a pattern and it progresses to the next.
Maybe
Because
I'm talking
the more
about.
you tolerate,
Yes.
you're giving, okay, you're checking. Yes.
I mean, I'm not gonna tolerate. Again,
You
here
stayed.
is my
you
stance,
stayed.
right?
You stayed.
I stayed the first time because they promised.
Oh.
Never, this could have been the first time they acted otherwise.
The one who
I
died in the
called.
home had the promises. And
No,
failed
I'm
again.
sure, I'm for sure not gonna be the one that is gonna stay in any abusive relationship for whatever reason. I can't forgive the first time, but if it happens again, I'm leaving, right? So, but I'll call the police. My stance is that I'm gonna call the police.
and stay after that.
I can stay or I may
There's
not
no trust
stay.
after that. I
And
cannot
your
trust a
reason
person
for-
who has exposed me to potential harm to my life.
I mean, that is on you because
Let's-
people do change. We will agree that somebody can maybe act in a certain way today, and that will be the last time they will act like that.
If you guys don't
Well-
mind, if you guys don't mind, let's take this one step back, right?
Mhm.
When there is a situation, right? Let's say we are disagreeing on something, we
Mhm.
cannot agree. We've tried so hard and we can't agree, and then you decided to pick your phone up.
Mhm.
That's step number one.
Mhm.
You unlock it. Step number two. You dial 911. Step number three.
Mhm.
You put it in your ear. An officer picks it on the other end. Step number four.
Mhm.
And they ask, hey, what's your 911? What's your emergency?
Emergency is the
And
word.
you're like, what do you tell them?
No, remember I said I was gonna call them
Hey.
if my life was in danger, right?
Hey, Lady D,
Yes, I'm gonna tell them exactly what is going on.
This
Why
is 911.
Why is my life in
this
danger?
is 911. What is your
Oh.
emergency matter? Just go ahead and say it.
No, I'm not
You're
gonna
online
ask
with
them straight up.
911.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
gonna
put
tell
her
them
on
what
the spot.
transpired.
Okay,
No,
so
no,
Lady-
no, 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 no. The thing is,
I
I
want you to
don't
think
know
of a
exactly. No,
scenario.
I'm not gonna think of scenarios here. I'm just here to say
Okay.
if my life is in danger, and this could be different
No.
scenarios.
Let me take it again
Let me-
one step back and ask another question. Then I'll let you flow back. Who on this panel has called the cops on their partner?
I mean, that's
Ever.
not the thing for us to be discussing. And
No, you
telling
don't have to
people.
discuss it. It's just saying I have done it or
I've
I
not
have
done
not done
it.
it.
I've not done it. I don't think I ever
I
do.
have not, and I
Well,
wanted
okay.
to do someone.
All right, very good. Why have you guys never done it? Why have you never done it, lady?
I don't tolerate what is not, what would, that if I lose control, if I'm not in control of my relationship to that extreme amount.
How about you, Ben? Why have you never called 911 on your partner?
Because if I call,
911 means you guys are done.
that is the same like divorce to me.
Okay. How about you, Lady D? Why
Because I
have you
haven't had the reason to call.
Okay.
How
Um,
about you?
so, me?
Yes.
Well, I have never called the police on anybody except my baby mama. And I will call it again. But let me ask you guys this.
And you're still dealing with the baby mama.
I will
Well.
deal with her until the police have come several times and they have not still solved the problem.
And then
So I don't know
police
how-
never shot you.
I don't know how the police
Or harmed
I
you.
called them on her, not on me.
Okay.
By the way, when you Ben, you wanted to ask a question. Maybe I'll wait for you to ask
No,
your question
it was not a
before.
question. What I wanted to say was that when we want to start calling the police on your partner, just know that you will always be calling the police. It will never stop. It will never stop again. Any little thing he does or she does, you will call the police.
Thing is just like when you start having sex, you never stop.
Yeah, because
I didn't want to go there.
you've lost the ability to handle it yourself, so you pass it to somebody else or some other.
But
and
that's just
that's-
normal,
that's
right?
a tactic
No,
of
Melanie,
intimidation
you
and
mentioned
bullying,
something.
that's
No, we, every one of us, we need sometimes an intervention. Whether it's just a friend that you call and report
If
to
it's
a
at the
partner.
extreme of calling the cops, that is the law enforcement, right?
Again, you may
That's
be
what they
that
call them.
person that you don't want even your friends, depending on how
Lady Jane, what are they called? Law enforcement.
Exactly.
And when you call 911,
It means the law has been broken.
No, it's really the
Somebody
law.
has to
They didn't
enforce-
say,
And let me
they didn't
say-
say
and let me
it's
say this.
they're coming to enforce.
the illegal enforcement. It's the law.
Yes, they're coming
So
to
that's
enforce.
why you need to call them to
They are
enforce the
empowered
law.
of enforcement.
Why didn't you call a lawyer?
Oh,
Well,
why
it depends on the time and the timing and that everything is happening. What do you
I'm
do?
just
Do you
saying,
just wake up
if you're-
at midnight
this is
and you
what I
call
would
the
say to
lawyer?
people, if
Why
you're-
have you not been calling the lawyer?
If you're with a partner
have.
who
The person
cannot
who calls
handle
the lawyers are my
the
baby mama.
conversation, who cannot handle the heat, who cannot manage you as a partner, then you guys don't have a relationship that is built for the future.
Yeah.
Because it starts from here.
I'm with you.
If I cannot trust in your ability to manage the emotions, to manage and handle things, either walk away or give time or approach it differently or try to see where I'm coming from, then why should I trust building a long life relationship with you when you cannot handle
Mel, I think you actually
the
said
simplest
Let-
things?
because you
What
had
you
made that
No, let
point
me-
that you actually called the
let me
police if
add
your
to what
life
you
was in
said.
danger. That was also my stand.
That's
So
the
now
extreme.
it's
That's
like
what I'm saying, it's extreme.
we are maybe we have different views.
Yeah.
But I think every one of us here did agree that if your life is in danger, right from
Call
then
the
on,
police.
you said, I will leave and
I
never
did
come
agree
back
that.
again.
So
And
if you're
Mr.
calling
Ben
the
did
cops,
agree.
I think I agree that.
It's the
But
extremity for
let
me.
me add to what you were trying to say. If you're living with a partner and you think that your problem will be solved by external people or relatives
No,
or whatever,
sometimes you might call somebody to intervene in a disagreement or in
At
a
home.
situation.
if you-
But we are
once-
specifically talking about calling.
The
We're not
law
saying you
enforcement.
should never call somebody. There are
Yeah.
times where you might need some external help.
And if you need
Well,
some
I
external
might help.
I
help,
want
you
to
could still
ask
be
you
the
that
police.
external help
Mhm.
is the cops. Because I wanted to ask this. If you're disagreeing at home or you guys are arguing over something and you call the cops, I want
That's
you
your
to tell
first
me.
go-to
No, I want you to tell me. No, I don't care if it's the fit go-to. What I want to know is, in your mind, what are you expecting the cops to come and do?
Tame
They're bringing
the person.
peace. They're
bully
bringing-
the person.
They're coming to
assert your
intervene.
authority.
And no. I don't
Let-
think the
let-
police is
let-
there
let
to
I
bully
explain.
people.
Yeah.
When you call the cops, what do you think? What are you anticipating they're going to come and do?
They're coming to resolve. They're coming to listen to both sides and give a solution. That's why you call the police.
All right.
That's
so
why the police
let's
have
make a
come to-
scenario, right?
Yes.
So let's say you're my partner and you didn't cook lunch or dinner, and I'm mad and I'm like I'm saying some terrible things to you and I'm raising my voice.
That's a very
That's
soft-
a wrong- that's
that's a
bad
very
example.
soft. That's a very soft
I
example.
mean, I was just
Okay,
gonna
let me
tell
give
them
you an
that I'm
example.
not
Let
even
me
gonna
give you
talk
an
on
example.
that one because I don't
Let me give you an
know. I
example.
don't see how somebody will call you.
If I'm your
Yeah.
partner and I come home drunk,
Mm-hmm.
and I am very violent.
Yes.
No, you're very violent.
Yes.
Yes,
I'm
'cause you're
violent.
under-
What do you mean by you're very violent? You're
I'm
beating her up?
I'm
Verbally,
threatening
it can be
to-
verbally,
or
emotionally.
verbally, threatening to beat you, doing that kind of thing. Will you call the police on me?
I mean, I know that you're under the influence of alcohol, right?
Uh-huh.
I can easily leave the house. I know that
I'll
you're
lock you
not.
up- I'll lock you
Yes,
up in
I'll
the
lock you up
basement.
in the room.
Okay.
So
I'll
that's
lock you up in
different.
the basement.
Yeah.
So, tell me.
But in that scenario,
Yeah.
let's say you decided to call the cops.
cops.
What are you calling them to
Cops.
come and do? What
I
are
will
you
not call the cops because my.
All right, so you give us your scenario where you would call the
Yes.
cops.
If somebody holds a knife and threatens to.
Okay. If I come home with
Of
trauma, I have a
course.
knife.
If somebody is telling me they're gonna shoot me,
But
if
you
somebody
did-
is telling me they're
You
gonna
just
kill
said-
me.
That you said earlier that
Yes.
you're having an argument with your partner and you need a third party to resolve the argument. It wasn't even a threatening life
Yeah,
solution
I think she's
situation.
I mean,
dancing around.
No,
outside.
I'm not dancing
She's
around.
gradually
I am
thinking
not
that calling
dancing
the cops
around.
is absurd.
I think it's
That's
actually
what
on
we had
you
to- that's what we had
because
to
you are
start
the
with.
one with an example.
That's what we
of
have to
calling
start
cops.
with. Why would you get to the point of calling the cops? And if the partner calls the cops, should you stay with them? And which is why I said I will not, because the cops to me is your last resort. It means it's gone out of control. And if it's gone out of control, we should walk our separate ways.
That is exactly the point we've been making since.
I mean, so now
And she said no, you said you would call the cops and you could still stay with the person.
I say it
That is-
depends. I said
Yes,
it
it
depends.
doesn't matter.
So,
It
I
doesn't
could still
matter.
leave. I mean, there are people who have left a
Lady
relationship
G,
for the relationships
Lady G,
have actually
You
stopped.
are leaving the door open when you say it depends.
And again,
There
I
is a
will.
probability that you can stay.
Yes, yes.
We are
What
saying
about
that
the partner?
if I call the cops because my life is in danger, there's
Uh-huh.
no effing way I'm gonna stay.
That is on you, right?
For me
Okay.
personally, I
So-
don't-
So we want to
I
know
don't-
those scenarios where you will stay.
Yeah.
Because me, there is no scenario where
Because
I will
me, the
stay.
partner that
So I
you
don't
call-
have a
You
scenario.
call the cops on me,
Here's
I don't
the thing.
trust you anymore. Why should I stay with
Exactly.
you?
Actually, it could be because I was the one who actually made him to be that angry.
So you just wasted the people's
Oh,
tax, the
so-
taxpayers' money
Of course.
and resourcing. You should be locked up.
Don't even
Of
go there.
course.
So,
You know, personally, I would
so you
never
will
want-
stay because you are the one that caused it.
I was the one that actually.
That's what she's saying.
So
that
what
she's
did you
Yeah.
gradually going around here.
Yeah, I was there because I was the one that made him to go
So
to that
if-
So if
extent.
you're not the one.
You-
So you see that that's toxic too, right?
Mhm.
You're
It
you're-
could
you're
be
creating an
toxic.
environment.
Yeah, it could be
Well,
toxic.
So what you're
Yeah,
saying
a lot of us might not be in toxic relationship that you think they will be calling the police every day, but indirectly you are actually in a toxic relationship.
What
Yeah.
you're saying is, if you are the one that caused the problem and then you call the cops, which means
No.
you are
I caused
claiming a
the
victim.
problem. No, I did not claim. I will not lie. I'm not that person that will call the police and lie on nobody. I'll tell exactly what happened.
Okay.
We were arguing, and because of something I did, he overreacted
Okay.
and maybe said he was going to do something
Okay.
That's why
which
you
was
called the
indirect.
cops.
Yes,
Okay.
I called the cop because
Okay.
what I
Listen.
felt. Yes,
You're fearful for your life.
exactly.
Yeah.
You decided to bring in a third party that.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, so, well, for me, I'm not gonna let that fly. But what I'm going to say is this. If you get, like Mel has been saying over and over and over, if you are in a relationship that gets to the extent where cops are being called in, you shouldn't be in that relationship.
I will agree.
That's what I'm gonna tell my
Actually,
brothers
will
and sisters
agree
out
because
there.
I said
If you stay in
if
that
it's
relationship,
one time, good and
No,
fine.
yeah,
But
let
if
me-
it
let me
repeats
finish. It
itself,
shouldn't even be one
I'm
time.
definitely gonna be
And the
also
reason-
leaving.
The reason why I'm saying this is, especially in the African community here in America, calling the cops has become
The norm.
a norm.
Yeah.
And if
A tactic of
if-
intimidation.
yes, they use it for
Even
intimidation.
your children at times threatening you to call the cops.
No, your children is different.
Yeah.
Your children go to school, they tell them
They
to
teach
call the
them,
cops
yeah,
and all
just
of
for what
that. If my
nonsense.
child call the cops, I'm not gonna be mad.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go to their school
Yeah.
and tell the teachers to not teach my child that
Do their
nonsense
jobs.
again.
Yeah.
But let's come back to the conversation. Our community has taken the habit of calling the cops. It's a pandemic in the African community. And if somebody does not speak about it, people are going to die. I think people have already died. But by educating people that you don't have to be calling the cops because you have a disagreement with your spouse and you think you can use the cops to intimidate them, we are going to save lives.
Sure.
If you are calling the cops and it's for real, it's really something
Yeah.
that deserves for you to call
The
the cops,
intervention,
you really don't need to be in that
That
relationship.
Yes.
Because the next time you might not have the opportunity to
To
call
get to
the
the
cops.
phones.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
if that is your situation, take my advice. I know I put out a lot of advice and you guys ignore it because you think
Because your
you
advisor.
think I'm not woke. I'm not woke. I will never be woke, but I will keep saving lives.
Well, I love this point that Manny made just now. And you know we don't agree on anything, not even the color of your shirts,
Yeah, I
or
know
the
that.
wordings on your shirts.
Yeah,
But
I
this
know that.
time we agree, so there is peace in the world. But all I wanted to say is, going back to what you said earlier, because I think we need to dive a little deeper into that, the abuse of the system.
Yes.
There is a miseducation on why and what you should be calling law enforcement for.
Yes.
I mean, if you call them for a reason that is not good enough, they will not
Actually,
show
I
up.
am of the
right?
opinion that if
Sure.
you just call law
No, I
enforcement
think
just
if you
because
call
you
the
can call
police
them-
just because you want to call them, they will
I have
not show
videos
up.
of a crazy person always calling the cops on me, and I have videos of it, and the cops always show up.
Well,
Sometimes they show up
maybe
and they
she,
stay at my gate
she
because they
calls
can't even
them
get close to my
and they
house.
and she
and they end up-
lies.
Yes.
She is
Well,
lying,
that's
and
what
that
I was gonna
lie
add
is
to my
what is
point.
bringing them
Yeah.
over.
I was going to add to
Yeah.
my point that when you have a person who can abuse the system like that, they should be locked up. They should actually go to court and they should pass judgment on that. People are paying taxpayers are paying money for these resources. You're taking time off an emergency that maybe there's a life and death situation somewhere else, and you're wasting it on stupidity. But again, coming back to let's educate our people. When we have our social gatherings amongst our community, we should stop missing out on opportunities to educate. We have people that work in law enforcement.
Right.
Let these people know what kind of situations or circumstances you should be calling the cops for.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
like that, yeah.
We can create a community outreach and actually invite a police officer from our community to come in and speak to the people.
Yeah.
I
mean,
think it is
we
very
have-
needed.
Yeah.
It is very, very needed because the things that are happening in our community is crazy. And you guys, I'm not biased here. The majority of the people that call cops are the women. This is not me being biased on anything, but those are the
And
facts.
remember, they are the weaker sex,
weaker
and
sex,
for the
yeah.
most part, when your life is being threatened, it's really the men threatening the.
If your life is threatened, you should call the cops.
Yes.
And you should not be in that
In that
relationship.
home or the
I don't know how many times I have
Yeah.
to say this,
Yeah.
but I'm
I
saying
mean,
that
are you telling people to? Are you trying to tell people to leave their relationships because I
No,
mean that is
he's
on
telling
you.
people to
Look,
think about
If your
their
lives
safety.
continue
The
to be
religious said
threatened, I think
something
I'm
here.
missing.
Think about
Lady
your
D.
safety.
Thinking,
yes,
yes.
let me connect the dot that you're missing.
Yes.
If your life is being threatened
Yeah.
and you don't want to leave because you want to save your relationship,
Stop calling the
dead
cops.
people don't have relationships.
I agree. The thing
Okay.
is, right? Like
If
I
you leave that
said,
relationship, you can get another one.
Yeah.
If you stay there and get killed, that's the last relationship you will ever have. That is the point I'm making.
okay.
Yes.
Take it serious. It's not a joke.
I mean, I'm not gonna see in any relationship where my life is being threatened over and
Thank
over
you.
again. So
No,
I will leave. But
you-
I'm just trying to make it clear that teach the people first to call the police because they are in danger. Their lives are in danger.
Do not call the police because you want them to come and intimidate
Your partner.
Thank
That
you.
is bull.
Shit.
That is dumb. That is
Dunk.
that is illiterate. That is so.
Uncultured.
I that word.
Okay, guys, so we've all heard that if you have to call the police, it should be for something very serious, and we all
It should
agree.
be for a good reason.
And serious. Like
I
it
don't know
should
what
be
serious
something.
is.
Yes, it should be really life threatening. If your life is not being threatened,
if your partner is going through a seizure and you call the cops, they are not going to leave you because you call the cops. You actually call the cops to come and save his life. So
okay.
our point here is, if you're calling the cops to intimidate your partner, that is not right. But if you're calling the cops for something serious,
Yeah.
right? Something that needs the intervention of the cops, that is a good reason to call the cops. That is what I am saying. I
And
know
that is
what you guys
exactly
are
what I
saying.
was saying.
But yes, and after, if somebody called the cops to come and intimidate you,
Yeah.
you shouldn't be with them
Don't stay with that
after that action.
I agree.
Because again, when cops come,
Mhm.
it can end in tragedy.
Yes.
And
I
they
agree
will suffer that
100%.
tragedy as well.
Mhm.
But it's your life that is gone.
Yeah.
You might get shot and you're disabled and you're paralyzed or something happens to you and you're going to live with that memory
Yeah.
for the rest of your life. So why tolerate somebody that does that to you? Is what I can't wrap my head around.
Thank you.
I mean, I don't know of somebody that is gonna tolerate that.
Well, there
Or
are.
I'm not the person that will tolerate that.
Yeah, there are.
So,
There are.
again,
And
we
again-
are saying that if it's not something that will take somebody, if it's not life threatening, don't call the
Yeah.
I
police.
prefer that one. Thank you.
Yes.
Yes.
We agree.
And
Everybody.
coming to the point also where we're talking about if a situation is toxic, it's better to get out of it regardless, even if you have children involved, even if you have investments together. When you're dead, you're not gonna be able to manage all these things. You're
Take
not
care
gonna
of
be
your
there for
kids
your
in the
kids.
grave.
Yes.
So even people that give that excuse, I stay
So
because of
there's
my
no,
kids.
yeah, that's no.
That's still bull.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
hey,
I think
people
it's-
like to
it's-
justify nonsense all the
It's
time.
even better to live because of their kids.
Exactly.
Exactly.
You should actually live
Yeah.
because of your kids.
Yes, rather to stay and die.
Even live with them, take them along.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because if you follow the right process and you actually call the cops for legitimate reasons, they're not going to leave the kids with that person.
Absolutely.
If your life is threatened with that person,
Yeah.
the kid's life is threatened with that person.
Sure.
Yeah.
So why are you staying and saying I'm staying because of my kids?
Well,
Well, unfortunately, the Stockholm syndrome has taught us that some people fall in love with their abusers. Some people
Yes.
fall in love with toxicity.
Yeah.
Correct.
Some people fall in love.
And those ones, they don't call
They
the
need
police.
therapy.
They don't
And
call the-
again-
they don't call the police.
They don't call the police.
When
Yes,
you-
they enjoy the beatings, they enjoy the violence, and
That's
everything. They
true.
don't call
and
the
some
police.
people stay because they are afraid to suffer outside of the marriage because, of course, they were depending on
Dependence.
themselves.
Yeah, if you're in a situation, well,
And,
that's still not the point.
another encouragement here
Uh,
should be for people to work hard and not have to stay in an abusive relationship because
Value yourself.
As
value
you
your
said,
life.
to be honest with you, it's rampant
everyone.
amongst women.
Yes, women do it more.
Yeah, they do it more. Just because probably in America, somebody said something, I don't know, when I was in Cameroon, they said here in America, the first person they protect are the children, the second the women,
They prepare the children, the
dogs.
women, the dogs,
and the
Wow.
men.
and then the men.
Dogs before men.
Yeah,
Wow,
dogs,
okay.
dogs come before men.
That's a problem. In
So
that
that's why when you're
psychology.
calling the cops on your man,
Yeah,
you should better be thinking twice because then you might be sentencing him
to death.
to death by doing that unknowingly. Because sometimes the women don't really, that is not really the outcome that they are
They're
wishing
irrational
for.
when they're doing those
But-
things.
Intentionally.
Yeah, but that could be the outcome that they didn't
So maybe
want.
we should be talking to the cops now that they should value human life and not just come and start.
The cops
shooting
know
people
that.
because they were called.
The cops know that, but remember when a cop is walking into a violent
Law
situation,
enforcement.
they are also scared of what
Yes.
might happen to
To
them.
them.
They are trying to do everything to prevent any harm against themselves. And trust me, if
There's a
you
lady
were
who was
law
shot.
enforcement, you will
Well,
understand.
she called the police and was shot.
Yes, there's been
She called the
several.
Old
police.
lady.
Yeah, because she heard some noise around the house and she called the police.
Yes,
The police
they came and they shot her. It was all over the news,
Wow.
the legacy media.
Okay, man.
Yeah,
I
so
mean, they are law enforcement. They are trained to act. Of course, they're supposed to have that, what you call the de-escalation tactics and everything, but it takes the slightest thing for the trigger-happy ones to act. So that's why we say it's better not to pick up that phone, and because you don't know which one is coming to you.
the thing is, some people in law enforcement are there because they need a job. They are not really there because
They-
they are
They have
cops.
stuff.
They have the qualities to be a cop, right? So when you call, you don't pick which one comes. Again, to my blue shirts out there, you guys are doing a great job. This is not a dig in any way on the police. But we know there are thousands or hundreds of thousands of police in this country. There are always some bad apples, and those bad apples can spoil the name of the entire police force. Police should also try to really emphasize training on de-escalations, and community outreach is important. If the cop that responds is a cop that is part of the community,
Yes.
I strongly believe that they are going to act with some compassion. They are going to act in a way as if they are treating their own brothers,
Family.
sisters, grandma, and it's going to make it harder for us to get to that escalation levels beyond control that will lead to somebody losing their life and tragedies like that. So, I mean, for me tonight, I think I've had a great conversation.
Yeah.
To those that are listening who think that there are some points that we missed here or some outlandish points that we made, please let us hear your voice in the comment section. Don't forget to smash the subscribe button, like, share, and follow, and we will keep great content coming to you. This is Eze one of what?
Batula.
Thank you guys.
Zamunda.
I rest my case, guys.